We've seen the situation across the north of England. Durham had, for example, 54 millimetres of rain. And, of course, at the point that I was making yesterday, this is not an episode in isolation. Going back now some 10 days or so, we've seen initially a very active weather front that brought about 90 millimetres down in the southwest of England at Okehampton. Then through the course of the weekend, we had not one but two areas of low pressure. That gave us another 60 millimetres of rain quite widely. And the north of Wales, Capel Curig, a very well-known wet spot, it has to be said, 50 millimetres of rain there again. So it's this cumulative effect, all coming on the back of a very wet summer across England and Wales, one of the wettest in a century. So it's no surprise that we see what we've seen there. I think the Environment Agency spokesman makes a very good point. It looks as though the trend through today will be to see less intense rainfall quite widely across England and Wales, and as we've heard, a little bit in Scotland too. And then the trend into the forthcoming days is going to be one of dry weather for the most part, and it will turn much, much colder. But in the short term, although the rain is going to ease up within the next 12 to 18 hours, it takes a time for rivers to respond to that sort of input of rain that we've had in recent days.
And we're just seeing the Environment Agency saying that the River Thames is close to bursting banks at Oxfordshire and Berkshire. So the fact that you may not have seen a lot of rainfall does not mean you're
absolutely
out of the woods.
Not. It's this whole thing that the Thames as a conveyor. It may well be that there's been an awful lot of rain in Gloucestershire some days ago. It takes a time for all the tributaries to feed into the Thames to lift the level, as you say, further downstream in Oxfordshire and Berkshire. Hydrology, very interesting subject. Not my speciality by any means at all. But, as I say, just because it might stop raining or not have had much rain in your area doesn't mean to say that you need to switch off from this situation where we have, as we're quoting now, 204 flood warnings across England and Wales and 2 in Scotland.
We seem to be having a lot of once-in-a-lifetime events in a series of a few months. I mean, I know you must get asked all the time, what is going on, what's behind this?
The knee-jerk reaction is to say global warming. Well, I'm not certainly attributing what we've seen in the past week or 10 days to global warming. However, what I think we have established out of the pattern of global warming is that more extreme events may well happen more frequently, quite widely across the British Isles. And I suspect that that's where we are with our sum of knowledge at the moment. So, yes, in their own right, these events, not that extraordinary, but the succession of them, as rapidly as they have been, disappointing to say the very least.
Yeah, and you've just mentioned the fact that cold weather is coming, and of course if you've got no electricity, if
absolutely.
Your houses are soaked, that really is miserable.
That is my next concern. For example, as early as tonight, some areas will be seeing quite a widespread frost, and as we move through towards the weekend, top temperature even in the south of England, where of course we've seen extensive flooding, we may well be looking at 5 or 6 degrees by day. By night, a good deal lower than that.